Simplicity is about subtracting the obvious and adding the meaningful. John Maeda. Let's jump into these charts. This is one of those days where everything is up. And the biggest gainer for the day is the NASDAQ 100. We'll first start with the S&P 500. What do we see going on there? Up 1.19%. Again, we talked about where this past week was and how this week started off. Were we seeing a digestion phase or a topping phase? Well, the candles remained green, and as of today, we can see where our prior high was back on the week beginning the 20th of May, and that was 533.07. Last week, 530.51. This week, 534.69. So we are reaching a higher high. We do have, you can see, and again, I always warn you, when you see these dashed lines and you connect them to a candle and you look at the candle, they can add a bigger dash to what you think is a down or an up wick, and it's actually not. So move to the side and then look at the candle itself. You can see on this last candle to the right, it's not where we are right now, but to the right of where we are right now, you can see there's a little bit of down movement. There's more up movement as far as the wicks go. So again, we do have an up week. It has generated some more power in the up move. You can see now we can at this point redraw our trend line, but it doesn't do a whole lot for us right now. I mean, there we've connected three candles, but we've sort of jumped down from where those other moves were, but it doesn't. And again, there's an art and a science to being able to draw trend lines. We would love to connect three candles, which we're doing here. I don't like to skip candles in between, particularly where they were pumping up. But again, we have reached a higher high this week, so I feel a little better about that. We can see this 2-day candle is pushing through. This is the Tuesday, Wednesday, so it stopped drawing. There'll be a new candle starting tomorrow, the first day of the new candle. Will start tomorrow. We can see where we slid along and then pushed through in the morning, further up in the afternoon, our trend line. Now, again, we've redrawn that trend line. Don't like redrawing them, cutting them down on their angle. But again, something that's probably, well, I would say is necessitated by what? By the fact that we have had a higher high on both these charts. Now, we're moving on to the NASDAQ 100, not connecting that candle from the 20th of May as well. Even if we move up to the 20th of May, we don't connect last week's candle. So again, we'll go all the way back to the 13th. And as we watch, of course, this was our big gainer for the day, the NASDAQ 100 up 2.02%. Throughout this entire move, it has been the stronger move of the two stock indexes that we look at. You know, we had higher than average volume when we hit the low of lows. Next week, it continued again with a red down candle, but then it turned around with a green spinning top and average volume, which again was our trigger. And it's not taken us out of it yet. We've reached a higher high this week. The prior high was 460.53. This week, 463.61. That was 460.58, 463.61. So again, nice move up for the day. You can see this latest 2-day candle does have a little bit of down movement on it, a little bit of a wick. But you can see in the morning up, further up in the afternoon. So again, still long on the NASDAQ 100. Now let's look at where we are. 20-year bonds, they're up 0.73%. Didn't have anything getting us into this move. Jumping in on a red doji, I guess you could have done it. We did not. That was not a comfort for us there. We want to see a green spinning top, preferably with higher than average volume. Although I guess if you would have jumped into that, I'm afraid right in here, though, would have taken us out with that down week there. Don't see us staying in right here. So anyway, it has turned back around and is moving up. Don't have the volume yet either. We haven't had higher than average or even average volume all the way back to the last time we hit it on the week beginning the 29th of April. So do see an up move today in bonds. What about gold? Gold up for the day. I mean, it had been up and down, down, up. And again, trying to push through that weekly trend line on the half-day chart, still below it on the 2-day, but we do see a bit of a wick pushing through. And again, up 1.18%. Let's just take a little look at GDX. That is the VanEck Gold Miners. See what the gold miners are up to. Yeah, down in the morning, up some in the afternoon, but again, red down candle for the week, decently down 2-day. I just like to compare gold miners with gold just to sort of see what's going on across the board. I like that little extra bit of knowledge to know just what's going on with that too. I compare those, and of course, the last up in gold didn't have the best of triggers with gold. We did with gold miners. So anyway, don't hesitate to, again, look for outliers, look for other things that can back up what you're looking for in any of your potential trades. Things that give you, looking at the sector when you're looking at a specific stock, or looking at stocks in the sector when you're looking at a sector. I mean, there's all sorts of little tricks, little things you will learn if you keep your ears open, keep your mind ready like a sieve to, again, grasp hold of particles that are valuable and worthwhile of knowledge. Now, let's move on from gold. Again, we didn't have a trigger here for this down move. We're just keeping an eye. We did talk about how we had a ceiling here. We've had it prior back in April, early April. We saw it bounce off in late May. So again, don't have volume backing us up on any of this, just a ceiling. Okay, let's move on to HODL. What do we see going on with Bitcoin? Well, we see it reaching a higher high this week. Look at the 2-day candle. We see these last 2 days on the half day as things have moved up with Bitcoin up 1.24%. Bitcoin just keeps on a-moving. Now we go back to the highs. It was 83.36 back on the week beginning the 11th of March. Where are we now? 81.28. But again, we're tacking up there. Is this going to be, what we could do? We could go ahead and stick a horizontal ray up there just so we know where we are. And we're going to stick it right up there. And again, see as we get closer if we're going to push through that or if we're going to bounce off again. Is it going to be a ceiling or are we going to push through? So let's keep a close eye on that. Let's make sure we set it at the right spot, 83.36. Okay, let's go at the settings, 83.36, and we will endeavor to get it there. Okay. All right. So what we will do is we will keep a close eye on as we approach and see if this does end up being a ceiling for us and if it bounces off, or is it going to push through and Bitcoin's just going to go up like we hear to $1 million a Bitcoin at some point. We'll see. Anyway, so it's fascinating to watch as we've seen this latest move up. And of course, we now have our average volume here. And you can see we're nowhere close to it over the last many weeks. So we're standing by watching Bitcoin. And again, with all of these, nice to see the stock indexes moving higher. Interesting to see bonds moving up also, but no volume to back that up for us. Gold, recovering a little bit for the day, but still down. We'll see where it goes. And of course, Bitcoin continuing to move up. That's where we are. Don't forget, Patreon members, we've already put out for you, put it out last night. As I told you I would, Charting Cryptos, Commodities, and Currencies will release to everybody else on Friday. And of course, exclusively for our Patreon members, 3 wave trades. Those are liquid stocks with liquid options, liquid ETFs with liquid options that we go through our little smattering of those each and every week around Tuesday or Wednesday for you, so that you've got some interesting things to learn from, to watch, and to maybe put into your quiver of stocks or ETFs to practice trade. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.